Judith, I hate to do this. I just want to open this
Of
up.
course.
Once
Don't
it's
hate
open,
it.
I think we're going to be
Should we slide the chairs over? We can do that.
No, I think once we do this, that is fine. Yeah.
Good, good.
We got a trio. We're ready. We could do a beat. Thanks for, since we gave you notice like weeks ago, we're so glad that you're preparing for months for tonight.
Months and months.
It's okay. I did an event for Martin Luther King at City Hall with this award ceremony. And they were only telling the awardees like 3 days before.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were like.
It was a big
By the
ceremony.
way, I'm going to.
I had no idea. Like DeMar Hamlin was one of them. He was gonna be there. They changed the practice.
Oh, because of me.
They have the practice was in the morning for the players. That's his first practice. There's this real tall guy next to me. Maybe this is. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like.
Oh, is he the one that had the heart?
Yeah, that's what they.
I don't get the feeling DeMar Hamlin is one of the 6 feet guys.
Well, they're all big. I think.
Yeah, but his
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You could be
Josh being interviewed by a reporter.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get a sense of how big he
Well,
is.
he's 6'6".
He's like 6'5" or something.
No, you don't. He looks small.
The reporter was, not a small woman, but she wasn't 6'5", that's for
Oh, I know. It's crazy. Okay, we're ready to get started.
Yeah, I know. Not only that, but like it looks like the whole place is empty. Can they see? Oh, they see.
Shabbat Shalom. Ooh, sorry about that. Let's take a nice deep breath of Shabbat air. We breathe in everything we want to hold on to from the week. The bad weather and the good weather, the beautiful sunshine we had today, memories maybe that we made, times that we had to be and have good conversations, TV, movies that we saw, books that we read. Anyone read a good book this week? A good article? A good snippet? A little meme. My son, Noam, keeps telling me about memes. I said, I really don't know any memes. I said, I'm never going to have heard of it. There's no way. What's that? Oh, yeah. So Noam was in Little Mermaid. I have my parents here, and Noam did wonderful. The whole cast at Amherst Middle was phenomenal. The only thing that they struggled with, and Kendra, you'll appreciate, the microphone system. Isn't it always the microphone system?
Yes, because they're run by kids. They try to give the kids like the experience, but it's.
It's very hard, but also you have a lot of microphones. They're always hitting each other. Yeah. But other than that, I was astounded at the talent of kids these days. It is quite something. Actually, the Prince lead in Little Mermaid, his father is a Broadway star. Or like he's on Broadway, different. I think he was in Little Mermaid in the Broadway version, and now the kid apparently just got a call back for a Broadway show. So you never know, right? All right, we'll pull everything in and let go of all that icky stuff. We all have the slush on the road, the sliding, all the stuff we can just get rid of. I should say, I learned that technique about doing that. It's actually from Rabbi Levi Wyman Kelman from Jerusalem. He was the rabbi from Kol and Shema for 40 years. And we're Martin Luther King Shabbat. His father was one of the rabbis that marched with Martin Luther King. And I remember he mentored me a little bit. And when I was in his office, he had a picture of the march, and yeah.
This one?
It might have been. There we go. Yeah, Rabbi Yonina has a picture, one of the famous pictures there. I think they all, if I remember, they all had green kippot. Everyone was wearing. Okay, so we have a very special service, and we have Bruce. Bruce, how are you going to get out between Julia and your mom? There you go. Look, he's very nimble. Mark isn't going to get in your way.
He's got to run the stopwatch. Shabbat shalom, everyone. It is nasty outside, but we are inside for a nice, warm, meaningful service this evening. We have special guests, special music, special poems, and things like that. It should be a really interesting evening. You know, the lights are dimming, so we're... I'm fascinated by history, as you guys probably know, and whenever we do something with Martin Luther King weekend, I talk about his history with Buffalo. He made 2 trips to Buffalo, one in the late 50s and one about 5 months before he was assassinated. He spoke at Kleinhand's that day in November of '67, and back in my TV news day, when I was producing Black History Month. Yes, I did Black History Month, which is all you need to know about TV news. That and the fact that I produced the Pope's visit when he was in Toronto, so very versatile. But anyway, we interviewed George Arthur, the late former city council president, who was with Dr. King at that visit in '67, and he talked about how Dr. King had become so controversial that there were prominent African-American leaders in town, like Arthur Eve, who would not be seen with him at that visit. He had become quite controversial. But it was truly memorable, and we found, I was really pleased with this story, I found an elderly woman who was a member of the church on the east side where Dr. King visited in 1958, and she talked about serving him lunch. And they prepared a nice feast for him, and he said, I just want simple food. Cornbread is fine. He was a very down-to-earth man when they visited with him in 1958. So, little Dr. King connection to Buffalo. And of course, we have a prominent connection to civil rights. Didn't you take a trip to that museum in the Falls a couple of years ago? There's a civil rights museum up in the Falls, and the Niagara movement, which started in Buffalo in 1905, is the precursor of the NAACP. So a lot of civil rights history here as well. Anyway, I'll stop rambling and I'll let them go on. And we have a nice service, so enjoy, and I'll see you later for the announcements. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, we have a beautiful service that Cantor planned. We have some guests on our bima here, Judith and Michael and Rabbi Yunina. It's so wonderful to have them, and they're going to bring a little flavor of Martin Luther King this weekend to our service. And I think we are beginning with a song. I don't think it's in it's not, they don't have it, right?
We have leaflets.
There's leaflets.
There's
Is
a couple
it in your
little handouts,
leaflets?
and there is actually a leaflet, and the very first piece is Light These Lights.
There we go. It's in your leaflet. So light these lights.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Try with me. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you.
that so very beautiful and meaningful, especially this week, as our prayers have been answered with the hopefully hostages coming home on Sunday. And it's been a long, long journey. I actually wanted to read a poem before we do the candle lighting. This is from a colleague, Audrey Marcus Berkman, out of Boston, who writes wonderful poetry, and it's about the hostages' return. Hostage Square is almost empty. My friend thought she'd find it filled with celebration tonight. Instead, it stands like a holy of holies, a sacred center of held breath, of audacious hope, of life chosen, of refusal to let go. This place itself, even empty tonight, cannot release what it has held. The cries, the prayers, the songs of endless months echo in a ghostly dance. Through invisible gaping tunnels in a silence past sound underground, the echo reaches back to its origin, the day when lives were torn from their worlds, universes shattered into pieces, unreachable, scattered too far from each other to remake what was in the image. Though divine sparks are eternal embers, searching always for each other, toward repair, toward healing, toward wholeness. And so families, creators, and sustainers of these singular universes came toward each other, made a whole world out of their hands, bound one to the other, pressing heart and lungs in breathless embraces, tears mixed into boundless sea, waiting, praying, mourning for their beloveds, hands bound in deepest darkness to rise up from desecration in the sacred square, to finally, dear God, finally release their breath into the space of breath held so long, into a tabernacle of hope that has emptied itself this night to be ready. We say Amen, praying and hoping for the release on Sunday. And I think it's appropriate to light their candles in a way in honor of all those who've had to suffer so much. So we're going to invite up the Bursteins. I got to see the Bursteins this week at their good friend Peter Weinman, who became a judge. He doubled the Jewish judges in the area currently. He and Brenda Friedman are the only Jewish judges. And it was, as we learned from Peter at his ceremony on Monday, his mom was always saying, if you're going to become a lawyer, you got to become a judge. And she would always point to that. And his mom, still alive, was smiling so wide when he finally achieved that. Page 120. Oh no, Erwin, the candle went out. It has nothing to do with you. We now have people flooded our bima with matches. It's been incredible. Okay, there he's got it. This is what happens. Something goes wrong, and the next week we'll find it's all corrected, because we've already forgotten about it. That's all right. After a minute, we've forgotten that we need matches. And luckily, the congregates remember.
I tied this up so organized.
Yeah. Harvey Sirota, I know, brought in some matches. Thank you, Harvey. Maybe there were some others. Walter, did you bring in also? No, okay. So thank you, Harvey, for leading our way. Amen. If you could lift up, Myrna, if you want to lift up the cup there, as we do Kiddush, page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu B'Shabbat Kodsho B'Yava Uvratzon Hinchilanu Zikaron L'Maaseh V'Reishit Ki Hu Yom Tefillah L'Mikra'e Kodesh Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim Kivanu V'Acharta V'Yotanu Kidashta Mikol Ha'amim V'Shabbat Kodshecha V'Yava Uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Hashem. Amen. L'chaim. All right, let's see. She's still standing. Okay. Thank you. Any good? A good year? Too sweet. Too sweet. That means it's a good Jewish wine. That's how you know it. We're gonna, I think, go into our leaflet again.
Yes.
Rabbi Yonina is gonna lead us. Do you want to tell us about the song?
I will, and I'd really like to tell a little story too, briefly. First of all, I do have a copy of this picture that I invite any of you to ask me to look at afterwards. I'd like to share something actually in the Chai Notes. This month we celebrate the birthday and yahrzeit of two great leaders of the 20th century. Tevet 18 coinciding with January 18th, 2025, we remember Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, who died in 1972. From a European Hasidic family in America, Heschel grew to become one of our greatest theologians. A prolific scholar, teacher, and author, he nurtured relationships between Catholics and Jews and walked with Martin Luther King Jr. in Selma, Alabama in 1965. I do understand in the film Selma, though, he was left out. I don't know why. Of that experience, Heschel said, "My feet were praying." As we recall Heschel's life and his 53rd yahrzeit, we also remember Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, January 15th. King, great American Baptist minister, activist, statesman, orator, political philosopher, was one of the most prominent leaders of the civil rights movement of the 20th century until he died from an assassin's bullet in Memphis, in Tennessee, April 4th, 1968. The song that I'm going to sing, that you'll join in on me with, I actually learned when I saw Tom Paxton, because I spent decades of my life in the DC area where he lived or lives. So I hope you enjoy this song, and it's not going to be too difficult to learn. It goes like this. Your shoes, my shoes, done walk a mile or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. Your shoes, my shoes, done walk a mile or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. Now the only difference is going to be we go back in your pamphlet to They Walked Rosa, but I have another verse that's not in here, so I hope that'll be okay. Okay. I know, should I stand further back?
Yeah, yeah.
I have this quiet voice.
Well, actually, the farther away you are from it, the better, because it just
It's okay.
isn't great system.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so let's start again with the chorus and we'll go on. Your shoes, my shoes, done walk a mile or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. They walked with Rosa to the front of the bus. They walked with Martin when he prayed for us. They walked with me, they walked with you. Done all shoes can do. Your shoes, my shoes, done walk a mile or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. They got no laces and the heels broke down, soles so thin that your feet hit the ground. Can hardly tell if they're black or brown, but they're good enough to get us to glory. Oh, your shoes, my shoes, done walking one or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. One more time. Your shoes, my shoes, done walk a mile or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. They've been up the mountain where their trees won't grow, been across the desert where they never seen snow. Shoes so tight that you can't hardly go, but they're good enough to get us to glory. Your shoes, my shoes, done walk a mile or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. Left shoe, right shoe, don't know the size. Shoes on the ground, eyes on the prize. Been to the river and they've been baptized, and they're good enough to get us to glory. Your shoes, my shoes, done walk a mile or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. One more time. Your shoes, my shoes, done walk a mile or two. Your shoes, my shoes, done all shoes can do. Great, thank you.
Wonderful. We're going to turn to Lachado D on page 139. We're doing the version with just the 8th and 9th verse. And on the 9th verse, we're going to rise and welcome the Shabbat bride as she creeps in here. We're going to bow to her, and then we're going to wave to each other, and then join together in celebrating Shabbat. was saying that the Underground Railroad often came through Buffalo, as Bruce was saying about the museum, and a lot of wonderful people stepped and risked their own life to save people. Yeah, I didn't know this. In Lewiston, there's a cemetery that also had people that I guess went through the journey or died along the way, and in a farm over there also there's an underground. They had a hiding space.
And they also have a church in the African corridor. Yes, the Michigan Street.
And the Michigan Street Baptist, the main, yeah. Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Our school had a tour.
Yeah. Yeah, they've restored a lot of that too.
And there's a room downstairs.
Oh, yeah. I think our women of Shir Shalom visited there too, not too. Well, let's just because we have everyone standing, let's have the Baruch Hu, our call of community, page 146. What Myrna's talking about is why we need community to stand up to oppression in this world. Page 146.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
We remain standing, and we're going to turn in our leaflet again to a song that Judith Olin is going to lead us, I'm on my way.
So this is a civil rights song that probably some of you are familiar with. And there's a lot of different renditions to it. Mahalia Jackson has an incredible version of it. Of course, Pete Seeger, Mavis Staples, it's been covered by a lot of the greats. So this is going to be done call and response. So I'm going to ask you to repeat the lines of the verses after me, and then the chorus is just, I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. So I
Hang
think,
on a minute. So everybody's looking in their pamphlets, but I couldn't put it in the pamphlet because when I went to print it up today, there was like maybe half a dozen versions of the words. So she said, don't worry about it. She's going to lead you guys. So don't put them down and just enjoy.
Sorry, I led you. I led you on the
beautiful
wrong way. That's what happened.
so just repeat after me, and you'll catch on to it real fast. I'm on my way.
I'm on my way
To Canaan land.
to Canaan land.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way
To Canaan land.
to Canaan land.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way
To Canaan land. Chorus, I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way. I asked my sister to go with me. I asked my sister to go with me. Well, I asked my sister to go with me. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way. Well, I asked my brother to go with me. Well, I asked my brother to go with me. Well, I asked my brother to go with me. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way. Well, I asked my boss to let me go. Well, I asked my boss to let me go. I asked my boss to let me go. I'm on my way. Great way. I'm on my way to freedom land. To freedom land. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to freedom land. To freedom land. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to freedom land. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way. One more time. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way.
Wonderful. We turn to Shema, page 152, 153.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We turn to the V'ahavta, page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל דרכך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום. ושיננת לבניך ודיברת
בשבתך
בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוקתך ובקומך וקשרתם לאור הידיך והיו לתוצאות בין עיניך וכתבת המזוזות ביתך ותשערך למען תזכרו מה עשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
This Shabbat, in addition to being Martin Luther King weekend and presidential inauguration, it also is the beginning of Exodus, which is the celebration of freedom. It all converges because a lot of what we're singing about, thinking about this week is with the hostages as well, is the preciousness of freedom. I wrote this poem many years ago after I just became a rabbi, and it's called Freedom. And it was when I was on a trip in Thailand about an experience I had with these birds that they would give out that would be trapped and would want to go back to being trapped in a way. By the big Buddha in Bangkok, we set the birds free. I did it because I felt sorry for them, not for the luck. One small bird would not fly. He sat in the dry, brittle grass, fidgeting. You went to see what was wrong. I was skeptical. I thought the birds were trained to go back to the old woman who sold us the cage. For you, it didn't matter. Life was upon us, and you had to take joy in it. Your smile is big as Buddha's gold. Later on the bus over to Siem Reap with the driver honking at peasants, I thought of the birds and was happy we set them free, even if they had just returned to the cage, even if a few small birds would never fly away at all. So we take that feeling of freedom, that preciousness of freedom, as we turn to the Micha Mocha on 158. And Rabbi Yanina is going to lead us in a version of this from the book of Exodus, not
So-
the melodies.
So hold your finger at 158 and then go to your song
Ooh,
sheets.
it's a double thing.
leaflet.
I like it.
Because
And
I
puts-
want to share something, of course, Matt.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
not on the
please.
program, just for a minute. Because in this amazing Parsha is also the story of Shifra and Puah. And I think it's okay here to say this because both Martin Luther King and Abraham Joshua Heschel were activists. So Shifra and Puah, some of you know this, were midwives. They defied Pharaoh, who grew very concerned about the strength of the Israelites who were slaves. And he said to kill all the babies, the boys. And Shifra and Puah, somehow, the boys lived. And Pharaoh was not happy, called them forth, and said, "Why didn't you listen to me?" And Shifra and Puah said, "Well, the Hebrew women, they birth their babies so fast, they're born before we can do anything about it." And from that, Moses was born. And we have to keep in mind, he was raised in Pharaoh's palace, right? And he ended up leading the Hebrews to freedom. So before I do Wayaya, I just want you to think about how you're going to be Shifra and Puah in the next years.
I wonder if they even knew what they caused, but the fact that they're in the Torah at all is amazing.
Particularly since not many women are named in the Torah,
Yeah.
right? And these midwives are
And they weren't
named.
Jewish either.
All right, thank you. So, we are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know we're there, we know we're there. We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We'll know we're there, we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. Why-ya-ya, 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 why-ya-ya. We're going to go through this one more time, and then we're going to go into Micha Mocha, because this is a kind of Micha Mocha. We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We'll know we're there, we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be snowy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. Why-ya-ya, 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 why-ya-ya. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai. Micha mocha nedar b'kodesh. No rati lotose fele malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokeh ayam lifnei Moshe Miriam ze'eli anu ve'amaru Adonai yimloch le'olam vahed v'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Gaal Yisrael. Wayaya, 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 wayaya.
Invite you to rise for the silent meditation, starting on page 164 through page 180. Take this time for your own private thoughts and prayers, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. We're going to turn to our healing prayer, page 371. And I'm going to read our list of names, people that we are thinking about praying for. I want to say, I spoke to Stephen Glick. Stephen, many of you know, he's a regular at our services, always sits in the back, a wonderful human being. He's had a fall a little more than a month ago, had some surgery this week. If you could just send special prayers to him, hopefully he can get back on his feet. I know how much he wants to be with us, and I know he's watching with us tonight, but please keep Stephen in your thoughts. I'm going to read our other list of names, and then we'll have a chance to go around. We're thinking about Jeff Balsam, Seth Bruckheimer, Lily Bink, Hope Bongiorno, David Cohen, Evan Dennis, Bob Filippone, Gloria Fine, Kenny Jackson, Denise and Jared Gilden, Carolyn and Ernie Grosser, Dave Imowitz, Kenny Jackson, Barbara Kane, Alex Katz, Ken Kellick, Marilyn Kerman, Tony Rinsberg, and baby Maddie. That's the family that lost their home in the LA fire. Remy Levine, Miles Levy, Gail Lewis, Shelby Matson, Howard Lewis Myers, Jeff Pratt, Angela Rabillard, Shel Rossi, Cindy Rotella, Paul Roy, Sarah Korn Rothschild, Brandon Ryan, Deb Serino, Carol Silverman, Lorenzo Stewart, Jerry Stobel, Andrew Sutherland, Susan Tobe, Enjo Tufts, Renata and Wolfgang Toll, Mary Weiss, Mike Wheeler, Lauren Zephiel, Carla Bat-Chana, Yosef Ben Zissel, Chana Ezra Ben Shual, Shmuel Ben Bulig, Yitzchak Nachman Ben Root, and Rafaela Bat Tovia. We'll go around, and if you have other names you'd like to say, just raise your hand.
Linda Rose. Michael Hyman and Juliana Riley. Daryl Kent. Mateo Colon.
forgot to mention also my father-in-law had triple bypass surgery, Ira Pierce, and came through it well, but is still recovering, so if you could send prayers his way as well. We're in the middle of 371. Please join with us as we send our prayers out to their where it's needed.
Before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Those in need of healing, with Rufa Shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us sing Amen.
A complete healing of body and soul. Shabbat Shalom. Raise your hand if you ever had a chance to meet Dr. King. We heard from Bruce that he was here. We had Jim got a chance to meet him when he came to Buffalo.
I saw him in Chicago in 1967.
1967. Anyone else?
I saw Mrs. King in the Atlanta airport.
Saw Coretta Scott. Yeah, Dr. Fine got to see it.
When he was just out of the seminary, he came to my high school with the sponsorship of a group of Jewish women. They were actually members of Hadassah and some other organizations. And he gave a speech, and I had the opportunity that my mother-in-law gave to shake his hand.
Wow. Dr. Fine said when you were in school, high school was it? In 1957, and Dr. King had just become a minister, and Dr. Fine got to shake his hand as a young man. Incredible. It's amazing to hear that. I didn't actually know what to expect. It feels so long ago that he passed, in 1968, or that he was murdered, and he left such an indelible mark in our world. It's impossible to think of our world without him. And it feels so far away. I mean, we're reading biblical stories, Exodus, Moses. These are people we'll never know that were, from thousands of years ago. But the heroes of today, how close are we? We're never as far as we think. Every year on Martin Luther King weekend, I always think about one person. Because, I had no connection to Dr. King. I met someone who was very close to Dr. King. This is when I was a student rabbi in Atlanta, Georgia. So in my third year of rabbinical school, I got a pulpit and would fly down, right after 9/11, of course, would fly down to Atlanta. And it was a little tiny break-off congregation. It was a break-off of a break-up congregation. And there was 30 or 40 families. And there was one woman who had these terrible health problems. She just had something like MS. Her body just didn't work right. And like in so many communities, I was brought in as a student rabbi, not really knowing even how to rabbi yet. And there was this major conflict. There was a number of the machers, the heads of the congregation, that didn't like this woman. Her name was Martha Rothschild. And they wanted me to mediate between this fight as a brand new, not even a rabbi yet. And I had no idea what to do. I tried to bring them together. Of course, I couldn't really. I learned there's some things you can't really solve, especially at that age and at that time I wasn't capable. But I really did try to get to know, especially Marcia. And one of the great joys that I had is that when I first started there, she took me to the Civil Rights Center that they have there. I have a beautiful museum dedicated to all the civil rights, but certainly to Martin Luther King. And it's in Atlanta. This is his hometown, and it really is such an important place. I remember meeting her on that day and walking around, and she told me, looking at pictures, I was there. Her father was Rabbi Jacob Rothschild, who was the rabbi of the Hebrew Benevolent, not Society, it's something like that. But the name of the synagogue, they always called it the temple. And if you know anything about Atlanta, this is the temple. Back in its heyday, if you brought a kippah in there, they would have kicked you out. But it was like, it's a centerpiece of the area. And her father was a very important figure in the civil rights movement. I didn't know any of the story when I met her. And she told me how early on in the late 50s, around the time Dr. Fine was talking about, they became friends. And Rabbi Rothschild went out of his way to support Dr. King's work. And this was extremely dangerous, and was something even for his community. You can imagine he was really, really going against the grain, just like Rabbi Heschel was. Rabbi Heschel at the Jewish Theological Seminary, they would have kicked him out if they could. They were very angry about his work with Dr. King and the civil rights. They didn't want anything to do with it. And we know as a consequence of what happened that the synagogue was firebombed. And it was one of the terrible, terrible, traumatic incidents. And she would tell me these stories about what happened there at the synagogue, but also just about going over the King household for dinner. They would often eat even Shabbat dinner together. They would sit together, and she was at the table with all the kings. And really soaking up, Coretta Scott. That was just like a family member almost. They were that close as a family. She told me one remarkable thing that I didn't know about also. We know that Dr. King received the Nobel Peace Prize, and he was the youngest person to ever receive it. He was 35 years old at the time. And I just have a little bit of his speech I wanted to read because anything he writes, it's so amazing. I accept this award today with an abiding faith, this is in 1964, in America, and an audacious faith in the future of mankind. I refuse to accept despair as the final response to the ambiguities of history. I refuse to accept the idea that the isness of man's present nature makes him morally incapable of reaching up for the eternal oughtness that forever confronts him. I refuse to accept the idea that man is mere flotsam and jetsam in the river of life, unable to influence the unfolding events which surround him. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. That's just a snippet of the speech. But he returned home to Atlanta, and what happened? Everywhere around the world they celebrated Dr. King. Not a single reception in Atlanta, except, as Marcia told me, in the Rothschild house and at the temple. That's going out, doing things. These are people that saw the possibility when it didn't seem like anything possible, when it was incredibly dangerous. Getting to know Marcia in the 2 years that I served there, it was an honor. She was a very bright woman, compassionate, caring, who went through a lot in her life. She suffered because of her dad's work. I can't tell you if her health is related to it, but certainly the impact of those years being in the shadow of this momentous thing. It scars you, just like it scarred Moses. Moses later is scarred in the tradition after going close to God, but just by the process of seeking out freedom. And tragically, I learned about 5 years ago she died in a car accident. Yeah. I've never really spoken about Marcia, but she was wonderful, and she was my closest connection to Dr. King. So to all of these connections, to people that we meet, we're never so far away. It isn't some faraway thing that happened, even if it was 55, 60, 57 years ago that he died. Even after all this time, we're still only a heartbeat away from people that were connected to it. May we feel that energy this weekend, not feel that he's like out on Mount Rushmore, but like she experienced them at the Shabbat table. Simple, quiet, family person, someone of this world. That's the way he wanted to be remembered, and I think that's how we should remember him. May his memory always be for a blessing, and may Marcia's as well. I hope that she's found peace with God and the next world. I asked, Judith was originally going to sing this earlier, but I wanted her to sing it now. This is the staple of the movement. I was proud in my Jewish day school. They taught us this at 5th and 6th grade, and I credit that for why people from my school were willing to go and stand up to power in the way that they have.
So we shall overcome, I think everyone knows, but I will call out the verses before we get there. I think we all know the first one. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do first verse one more time. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Let's feel those words in our heart, take those in as we turn to 586 about Aleinu, seeking a more perfect world. Aleinu, we rise.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. היום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
You may be seated. We turn to our Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Oh, sorry, did we miss it? Oh, yeah. All right, so before we do the Kaddish, let's do Michael has something prepared. Sorry, Michael, I didn't do
Okay,
that.
that's all right.
Looking forward to it. And this is a special poem.
So this is a hymn written to a poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson. He was poet laureate for only 40-something years, and this was written in 1889, just before, about a year or two before he died, and it was set to music just a couple of years after that. And the image in the poem is called Crossing the Bar. Some of you may know it. Yep, okay. The image in the poem is a ship, a sailing ship, leaving harbor for the unknown, requiring the tide to bring them out, guided by a pilot past the sandbar, and embarking into the unknown. And it's, of course, about death, and it's very appropriate right before Kaddish. And what's the connection, aside from the fact that Martin Luther King was assassinated just a few days after what I'm going to tell you about now? You may have seen this. There's a widely shown video or film of his last sermon in Memphis the night before he was killed. And if you see it, you'll never forget it. It's shot from below, close up of his face. He's sweating. He seems almost possessed. He's talking in some way to the congregation, but he's really talking to everything and everybody. And the message he gives in that speech is, I may not make it to the promised land. I don't know what will happen. I may not be with you, but it doesn't matter. We're going, we're going, we're going. And it concludes with him saying, on an upswing, and people are blown away. And my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. and then it ends, and then he's killed the next day. So there's this sense of foreboding, on some level, on some deep level, it's hard to watch it now because we know what happened, and it's literally the next day. But that sense of somebody who had been so far out in front, knowing how contingent his survival was, one way or the other, and over saying, don't be sad, I may not be with you, I may not get there, but we'll get there. And as you'll see, that is exactly what William Albert Lord Tennyson is saying in Crossing the Bar in 1889, in somewhat, put it mildly, somewhat different cadences and words. And it goes like this. And there's the last two lines of each verse are repeated in the refrain, and and you can pick them up and join in singing on it. It I think is a fitting introduction to the Kaddish. Goes like this.
Hang on a minute. It's not in the leaflets. I see
It's
some
not in the
people. It's not in
leaflets.
the leaflets. I didn't have access to it so.
We did all this at the last minute.
Thank you.
Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. When I put out to sea, when I put out to sea, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home, turns again home, turns again home, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark, when I embark, when I embark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to meet my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. When I have crossed the bar, when I have crossed the bar, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar.
As a community, first we're remembering two Elaines that died this week, Elaine Zeev and Elaine Weinstein. On our Shloshim list, we remember Jeremy Bryan Sedaris. We have his widow here as well. Reverend Jim Callan, Don Gilden, Marcia Jacobs, Carol Lieberman, and Anthony Legalbo. On our yard site list from years past, we remember Sandra Antonoff, Rabbi Eugene Borowitz, who was jailed in Selma, not in Selma, jailed in Florida, the Florida jail. He wrote the letter, the rabbinic letter there. Jenny Cutler, Evelyn Ahrensweig, Shirley Factor, Shirley Feldman, Aaron Feuerstein, Alan Freudenheim, Betty Freudenheim, Ruth Gafter, Morris Gelman, Evelyn Lowy Hirsch, Henrietta Herzog, Bertha Deutsch Hurwitz, Bernard Kaufman, Moritz, Kessler, Elliot Krieger, Goldie Crone, Henry David Lefcourt, Ray Eisen Lefcourt, Romaine Levine, Sadie Lieberman, Muriel E. Lifton, Abe L. Marcusy, Sherwin S. Bud Miller, Samuel Mitchell, Bertha Perlman, Morris Peller, Edward Cotrini, Myra Rosenthal, Nathan Rothstein, Jan Ellen Ruderman, Herbert Savitt, William Schweitzer, David Shapoznikoff, Muriel Schubert, Helene Smolin, Morris Salatsky, Private Samuel Snitzer, Elias Sugarman, Betty Trusty, Benjamin Weinstein, Norman Weiss, and Jeanette Wolfson. We'll go around if there's other names that you'd like to say. Just raise your hand. Those whose custom it is to rise, the Mourner's Kaddish, again, page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah b'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlik malchuteh b'chayachon v'yamachon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael b'agalav v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah v'rach li'olam olmei omayah. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei nekudashah b'richu Leila min kol berkata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata damiran b'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrama huya seh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yishvei tevel v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony and high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, and we say, Amen. You may be seated. Zikranam livracha. May their memory be for a blessing. We're going to bring up Bruce to offer our announcements. And thank you to our musicians for stepping in. You did a beautiful job. You never know his last minute. It's all beautiful.
Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Thank you to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, and the trio. The Kingston trio lives. Thank you to Rabbi Yonina Foster, Judith Olin, and Mike Frisch. There's a word I don't use very often to describe our Friday night services, but I'm using it tonight. Uplifting. Tonight's service was truly uplifting, and we need that right now. We truly need that. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to march on Washington. I'm ready. Really, really uplifting. Except for the fact that it's so cold, but I would, anyway. Anyhow, thank you all.
We've radicalized him.
Thank you all very, very much. And thank you to Sheila Bernard Tucker and Mark Nightinger for being our service greeters this evening. Tomorrow morning, Torah study is at 9. It is at Temple Beth Tzedek, also via their Zoom. Shabbat morning service and Kiddush luncheon is at 10:45, also at Temple Beth Tzedek. There is no community religious school Sunday morning because of MLK weekend. Sunday morning, I assume they're still doing the hostage walk this weekend, and that will be a joyous one. You've heard me talk about every Sunday morning the weekly walk for the hostages, and if they're doing it this Sunday, they will certainly be in a celebratory mood, we hope, a hopeful and celebratory mood. That is meeting at the tennis courts near the bike path on North Forest Road at 10 a.m.
Not necessarily, they've been switching it around, they have a thing on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay. So we don't know if they're doing.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, the mood on Sunday morning will be we hope a hopeful one. Next Friday we will be back in this room for what should be another very fun service. Tonight wasn't fun. Tonight was uplifting. Next Friday will be a fun one because we're bringing back family service, and that's going to be a hoot and a half. Got all the little kids running around. And ordinarily the only people running around are Chris and Julia, but we'll have little munchkins. Anyway, it's nice to bring that back. We've been talking about doing that for a long time. So next Friday night, family service is at 6:30. That is an earlier start time. There will also be a young families dinner at 5:30, RSVP to Joanne, if you're planning to attend that. We are also continuing our High Club drawings. Joanne will be up in a minute with that. Every week, we're drawing 3 winners, $18, $36, $54, and then a grand prize drawing will be on Purim, and that will be $180, $360, and $540. And if you do win, your ticket goes back in the container, and you can win again and again and again, unless you're me, because my tickets have gone into the office shredder. So, not that I don't trust her, but anyway, if you do win, your tickets do go back in there. Speaking of Purim, March 13th, we will be doing our Purim spiel, Wicked, Defying Gravity Together. Rehearsals are underway. We will be meeting Sunday at 12:30.
No,
and
11:45.
11:45. Well, I would be late then. Sunday is at 11:45. And we still could use some more people. We have a cast of thousands, so please,
Yeah,
if
we
you'd
do
like
have
to be.
some parts, and we are looking for someone, so if you're interested, please step forward.
Yeah,
I
we
can
could
have a
use-
discussion with you.
We could use some munchkins, so please join us for that. Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Our Valentine gift to you is courtesy of the Cantor, and that is Shabbat Shalom, Mr. Dillon, bringing back one of our most popular musical Shabbats in honor of the new Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown, which has been nominated for many awards and is a really, really good movie. So we're doing that Friday, February 14th, featuring special music, all Dylan music. Our band, will we have the singers?
Singers.
The singers as well. We will also be celebrating the Cantor's birthday and Todd Sugarman's birthday. And
With
You're
a wine
doing-
and cheese reception.
you're doing a little thing afterward, a wine and cheese reception that you're sponsoring. So thank you for that. Super Bowl squares are back, $10, $20 sides. This is to benefit this community religious school. Talk to Joanne about that if you'd like to get your name in on some squares. If you need anything at all, please feel free to reach out to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Todd, Joanne, or myself. We are all here for you. Thank you, as always, for being part of this wonderful Shir Shalom family. Shabbat Shalom. Go Bills.
Ooh.
We have a dream Sunday, do we not? Yes, go Bills. And do you have something?
There's a couple of things I wanted to say.
I thought you did.
First of all, Mike and Joe's daughter Naomi and Rachel Meyerowitz are going to present on Vietnam at our Jews of All Hues at the beginning of February. Second, because of this is kind of a tense political week, we're doing some resetting the table, talk across the aisle if you're interested. It's at Spot Coffee on Maple, 10 a.m. on Tuesday this coming week and 7 on Thursday. It's an hour, very informal, but if you're interested in kind of, if you're curious, if you're on the red side, you want to talk to the blue, if you're on the, like that, we kind of mix up. On Transit, Maple and Transit, sorry, Transit by Maple. Yes, thank you. I guess that's called Clarence, I think, yeah. Okay, no, give it to them, let them pick. We have some new pickers. Give it to Judith, she
Mix
wants
it
to do
up,
it.
mix it up.
Oh, we got 3 for 3. Okay, Judith gets the 18th. Drum roll. Russ, is it? Frost. Okay, Frost
Frost.
wine. We had a Frost member. That's number 18.
Yeah? Oh,
David Frost. I don't
well,
know.
that sounds familiar.
And for 36, this is the problem. Everyone's handwriting is like my handwriting. Peter Salander. Oh, Peter will be so excited. That's wonderful. And for 54, Rabbi Yonina gets the top one. Here we go. She's directly talking to God about this. Rebecca Slonim. Okay, I feel like another
Nice.
Slonim one before too. Okay. All right, we are moving to our final hymn, which is Peace Like a River. It is, I believe, in the handout. Yeah?
Yes, it's in the handout.
In the handout, okay.
Actually, it's in a little Little sheet, yeah, a little colored one, like a river. It's painted
Yeah.
like a river.
And I think you probably most everyone knows this one.
I got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Try with me. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I can't hear ya. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Peace like a river. I've got
peace like a river.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Well, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. As you came in peace, please leave in peace. Please return your prayer books minus the leaflet to the front and enjoy our own egg. Shabbat shalom.